Hi, I'm Dr. Alex Rossell from the Experimental Gambling Research Lab at CQ University Australia. I spend most of my day thinking about gambling and video games, and sometimes I even get to play video games as part of my job. Now, I'll talk to you about that in a second, but first I want to tell you about what I do and why it's important. Gambling is pretty common in Australia, but we're actually not very good at it. Worldwide, we lose the most. On average, adults lose about $1,300 per year on gambling, so we're not very good at it. But what is gambling? Gambling is when we put something of value at risk. So it could be money, it could be food, could be anything else, but it's often money. We put it at risk for the chance of winning more money. And what determines whether we win or not is at least part in due to chance. So think about, the cards that are dealt, or the flip of a coin, or the outcome of a sports match where, you don't know in advance who's going to win. If you're betting on it, then you're gambling. What we're seeing is that gambling elements are also starting to pop up in other places, including things like video games. So think of loot boxes, for example. Most of them you can pay to get a loot box key or to open one, and you usually don't know what you're going to get until you open it. When you get a skin out of it or whatever the loot box gives you, sometimes you can sell them. So that's actually gambling. You're paying to open a loot box. You don't know what you're going to get until you open it, and then you can potentially sell what you get out of it as well. And it sounds a lot like gambling to us. So the gambling industry is very good at getting as much money out of people as they possibly can. And sometimes they do things that maybe aren't the best. Now, it's not my job to tell the gambling industry what to do and what not to do. My job is to go and do research on what they're doing and whether it might be harmful or not. It's the government's job to set laws about, what gambling industry and even video game industry should be doing. And my job is to inform them. And sometimes, just sometimes, I even get to play video games for a living and be paid for it. It's not a bad job. So let me tell you about one of those times. Now, you might have noticed that gambling ads are everywhere. You might see something like this, where it says, put some money in your account and we'll match it with an extra $100 or $500 or something. Now, that's pretty exciting. It sounds like free money, right? But there's always catches with these things. So we wanted to see when people get offers like these offers, what does it do to their gambling behavior? Does it make them bet on things that they might not otherwise bet on? Does it make them bet on riskier things? So we wanted people to place bets for us, and we wanted to give them different offers and see what it did to the bets that they placed. So once they placed their bet, we wanted them to actually see what happened in the match that they'd bet on. So we set up this fake sports betting thing, and we wanted to get them to bet. And then we wanted to show them a highlight reel of the game that they'd bet on. And that's where I came in. My job was to come up with the highlight reels. Now, we couldn't just show them footage from an actual match because there's copyright issues, right? So I played my Xbox for a week. So my brother edited the footage for us and did a voiceover. He's a TV editor. And the people who took part in the experiment for us got in touch with us and said how much they really loved doing it. It's a really different type of experiment here for people to take part in. They really loved it. And we got some fantastic results, most importantly. We found that, when people are given these offers, they tended to place riskier bets. And riskier bets are ones where they're less likely to come true. So if they do come true, then you get a better payout, but they don't happen as often. So we found that these offers actually work really well for the gambling industry because virtually no one wins with them. So that's interesting in terms of, what these offers are doing. All they're really doing is getting people to lose even more money. So this study was led by my boss, Professor Neroli Hing, and this specific part of the study here was led by another one of my bosses, Professor Matthew Rockloff. So we wrote this up in a big report for one of the government bodies, and they're doing some things now. They're making some decisions based on the work that we've done. So we made a bit of a difference with that work. all because I played my Xbox for a week. Not a bad job, hey? So that's a bit of a day in the life of my job. I get to do lots of different and interesting things. It's not all playing video games. Sometimes I get to fly around the world and talk to people. Sometimes I get to talk to people like you. And it's all about trying to make sure that people aren't harmed by gambling or video games. And it's pretty rewarding. And it's a lot of fun. So thanks so much for listening. I'm Dr. Alex Russell from the Experimental Gambling Research Lab at CQ University. And if you'd like to get in touch to ask any questions, please feel very free to do so. Here are my contact details. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you around. See ya.